Alright everyone, I promised you some memes for the Strategic Masters clear, so I'm here to bring you some. So you can see I've brought some pretty standard choices for Strategic Masters, but I have brought the amazing Dios for once. Now obviously I could have used some other archers. Strategic Masters actually has a bunch of archers in the SR rank, but every single one of them is a limited character, so I decided not to use them this time. You know, there's Olivier. He was the most popular choice for a long time, but they haven't rerun Trails in the Skies for a long time, so I kind of feel like for newer players it's probably not a good idea to be using Olivier if you're trying to show off an SR clear. And the other two are even less available, I would say. Toma is actually pretty good, especially for PvE stuff like this, but again, limited availability, no reason to use him. And of course there's Isara. Honestly, Isara is pretty bad, especially for a situation like this, because I need someone who can output some damage, and Isara is a tank. Anyway, the general flow of this clear is not really any different than how I cleared it with the Glory units. I have Divine Boots on Vargas, so on turn 1 I teleport Emmerich over, both to lock down the tank and also to chip down the Scorpion a little bit before Vargas comes in to finish it off. The Harpy comes in with its net, and I have to make sure to kill it on turn 2 before it draws everyone in to do a bunch of damage with its AoEs. Unfortunately, Dios is bad enough that he can't even one-shot a flyer very often, even with an Imelda whip, so I have to use Egbert to whittle down the HP a little bit, but then Dios has no problem finishing it off. So that's pretty much the only reason Dios is here, to kill the flyers, and after that he can help chip at stuff, I guess. The funny thing is that Dios' talent is kind of unique. Not so much anymore. It gives defense minus 30%, which these days you can do that with just Lucretia. But it's just really funny to consider that there's an R rank unit that could do defense minus 30%, and he was a launch unit. And he actually would have been able to one-shot the Gargoyle, at least in my experience, so he does have that going for him. I think for some reason the Harpy is just way more tanky. But after that, the map pretty much falls into place like it did with the Glory Clear. Vargas just tanks everything all day. He's still just an amazing tank. And the zombies give him pretty good survivability, despite the fact that this enemy Redeemer has a class advantage against those zombies. But Vargas can take it, so he just tanks things all day while I whittle the enemy ranks down. Really, the only risk that's left on this map is the Ghost, just because Vargas can't tank magic hits. So I just have to be careful of that, especially because the Ghost can stun you after it hits you. And also the fact that I only have one magic caster here, which is Egbert. Well, I have Imelda too, and Imelda has the monks with her, so she can actually do a lot of damage to undead enemies if I need her to. I guess also worth noting is that the skeleton infantry is still vulnerable to passive blocks, so you can bring Forget on Egbert, and that's kind of useful. But honestly, since it's the last group of enemies you're fighting anyway, it really isn't a big deal. Honestly, it would be way nicer if I can passive silence the Ghost, because then it wouldn't just revive over and over or stun my tank. But alas, Zlone is not very kind in that way. But yeah, not a whole lot else to say about this clear. Just a good showcase of Dios doing something for once, because I know a lot of you totally wanted to see that. I'll see you guys in the next one.
間だ。お。
好きなだけあがきなさい。
鍛える時間だ。
準備は整った。
鍛える時間。
好きなだけあがきなさい。